And it wouldn't be plugged in with Seeff Properties if we did not interview the man himself, Samuel Seeff. I think today when you presented your presentation, there was one or two things that stood out for me. I think as a Seeff employee in Botswana,
Only one or two?
yeah,
Okay.
no, I
Then
think
failed.
no, no.
Okay.
As a Seeff employee, we have the access to your videos. We have the access to the platforms that you provide us in order to effectively and efficiently be the best agents in the country. But today, one thing that I hadn't actually coined in throughout the 3 years I've been an agent was the three things that you said, which was purpose, brand, and value. We know that home is our story at Seeff, and the brand is quite important. But when you mentioned the aspect of purpose and first identifying it and realizing how you can push it, it really had me thinking that most of the estate agents and most of the people in real estate have the motivation but don't know the actual purpose of the business. I'd like for you just to touch a bit on that and let the people at home know what you think about that.
Sure. Okay, firstly, thank you for being there and listening through. I mean,
Of course.
that might have been tough, but in any way, thank you. Now, on a more serious note, I think we grappled with it. It wasn't necessarily an easy thing just to say, well, what are we about? What do we want? But the empowering people to prosper through property, obviously with all the P's, it works well, but I mean, it defined that there's very many different levels that you can get involved in property, and it can be that you can be the top salesperson or the top agent doing rentals, you can be the licensee who's making significant funds and a big return on your investment, etc., and great profitability. But all the way through the chain, there's an ability for whoever we come into contact to actually to prosper.
Right, so if we talk a little bit about the learning, how did we go from what was a one-man, one-office business to something a bit greater? And it starts with having a brand and a purpose and value. And I think this is important for everybody, because you can be your own one-man conveyancing business, or you can be a 10-man conveyancing, or your own one-man developer, or whatever it is that you want to be. But you have to understand what you are about, what you stand for, your brand, what it does, who it speaks to, what business you're trying to achieve, the purpose of your business.
And they're prospering either directly if they're buying or selling and hopefully making money and capital gains, or indirectly just through the services that we provide. So it might be that you will sell a property to somebody, and the next person who's going to prosper as a result is somebody who's going to come in and repaint the house or redo the roof or something like that. And by our activity, our involvement, we're allowing many industries to come in and to prosper through the involvement in property. And that's what we looked at, and we like that because it could be, as I said earlier, something that everybody in the group can aspire to, from the person who drives around and picks up boards to the person who comes in early and cleans the offices and makes them ready for everybody to come in. Everybody should be improving their lot and prospering through property.
No, makes sense. You know, growing up, we always hear the word American dream, where everybody wanted to leave Africa, go to America, and establish themselves as the next big entrepreneur, the next big businessman. But we're seeing that your generation was the first breakthrough in the African dream. It started off in South Africa. You're in over 6 countries in Southern Africa now, 15 billion turnover in 2021. And I think I would be unfair for the listeners at home not to get at least 3 principles in terms of moving your business in the last 38 years when you took it over from a mom and pop and turn it into a multi-billion-dollar rand business.
The business started in 1964 by my late father, Jeffrey Seeff, and he named the company then Jeffrey Seeff and Company. And we're trading now for 58 years. And in that sense, we're the oldest and most established real estate agency in the country. And just through some of the brief history and the key milestones, we opened with a single office in 64. As I say, my father passed away in 84, and my brother Lawrence and myself took over. Possibly one of the most critical elements in our growth as a group was, after a short period of time, we had already grown into a level where we'd attracted the interest of one of the financial institutions, United Bank, who actually came in and bought in a percentage and allowed us to use that capital to go and buy other agencies within South Africa and to expand. As you can see that we expanded in 1994 after having gone to Gauteng, to Johannesburg region. And then in 1995, and we've been the only real estate company ever, we were listed on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange with a number of different divisions, including a development division, a commercial division, a trust company, a property syndications, etc. Lots of different divisions where we attracted entrepreneurs who came in and built their businesses under the Seeff brand.
Yeah, well, I think that, and it's interesting that you talk about America and the potential trend, etc., but we've never really gone there. And in fact, the coming into Africa has just been the last 15, 20 years. So that's been our, and what we've found is that, again, as to the last point I talked, it's all about the people.
Yeah.
And we've got the right people. So we've got the right people in the different countries who coming and approaching and say, we like the brand, we like what it stands for, we like the backup. Can we incorporate what you've got and find a spot in Africa and come in and start our business under your umbrella? And that's been for us fantastic. It was interesting then, I also talked about it being, you never know when you're being lucky. It wasn't necessarily a conscious decision at the time. We kind of grew through the opportunity, but now that we have established ourselves, now we want to still, get going, and we want to be stronger in Mozambique, and we've got to get into Angola and take forward through the whole of the Southern African element, the SADC countries, and then from there look and see what other opportunities there are in Africa. Not quite sure we're ready yet to be looking to go internationally in terms of America or the UK or something. We're working with companies, we've got our partnerships and our relationships. I'm not quite sure that there is that much that we can offer because people are established already. But we've had people who come to us and say, we want to start up, I'm going to live in the UK, I want to start a brand, I want to start, people going to Australia, and can we open? Unless there's really something that we can add to those parties, we're saying no, rather join another company that we're associated with.
No, most definitely. But I think if anyone could do it, you are top of the list.
Well,
of
we're
the people
trying. There's still lots
who
to
could
be done.
definitely get it done.
And this is the thing about the group, which you might find interesting, is that we are still a work in progress. We're 58 years, but there's still lots to be achieved.
A great work in progress.
Yeah. Well, thank you. But it's the way I look at it. It's like you've been given this coal and you're shining it, and there's really diamonds coming through in certain areas, but the other areas it's still coal. You've got a lot of work to do. You've got to shine. You've got to make it happen, and you're never going to get the final beautiful glossy diamond in full. There's always going to be areas you're going to have to work on and build on and do, and that's what's great. That's what keeps us coming back day to day.
No, definitely. Thank you very much,
That's a pleasure.
Samuel. I think the viewers at home will definitely enjoy the insight that you've given, and we shall be back with our next interview. Tune in and stay tuned for Plugged In with Seeff Properties. Thank you.